Are an absolute pleasure having my broadcast partner from Titan FC joining me right now, Kamaru Usman, who generally has me stressed whenever he competes, but I'm getting better. 20 years in this game, I started to realize whenever a friend is competing, just can't do nothing about it. Just enjoy the ride, and my goodness, that I enjoy that competition. Not trying to be biased, but that fight you had against Sergio, you must have been thrilled though after you had a chance to watch it.
Thank you. It's kind of weird for me. It's like right after I get done with the fight, win or lose, for me, because I when I'm in the fight, I have a different understanding of what took place in my head because I was in there physically and emotionally. It's a different perspective to be able to see it from the outside, the way, excuse me, the way that I like to study tapes and watch tapes. And so right after the fights, I like to go and look at the tapes right away whenever I get an opportunity to. And I watched it maybe about 15 times. The first, I would say, first three times is, oh yeah, wow, that was cool. I did something cool. Then the rest, 12 times is me. Oh yeah, I did get hit with that overhand. Okay, my hand wasn't up. Or move your hand. Okay, you look good, you look nice, but move your head. Slide back with the stance and footwork. And so right away, I'm looking for mistakes, and I'm looking for ways to correct that. And I want to put together a flawless victory one day. And when I mean flawless, I mean I'm talking old school Mortal Kombat games where you're playing the video game and your guy didn't get a punch in, you just ran through him, and that's what I aim for.
I don't know how you're going to do that, though, because the competition is only going to be getting more difficult from here. Now, with that being said, a lot of people reacted to your post-fight interview saying, "Man, do not mess with Kamaru because he's in a bad mood." And I'm like, "Well, no, he's one of the nicest guys you are ever going to meet." But I get it. I got the emotion. I got that interview with John Anik. You called out RDA on Twitter. You were talking to Neil Magny, and next thing you know, there's no opponents. Like, I mean, you called it ducking season on your Instagram. What's up with that?
Well, I mean, it's a bit unfortunate because I mean when you're coming out and you're not as vocal. Some guys that now guys feel like being vocal is everyone's doing like Conor McGregor syndrome. They're just trying to do that. No, for me it's absolutely not that. The reason I'm more vocal now is because I know where I'm at and I believe in my abilities. I started the game as just a pure wrestler, and I didn't really, I didn't know how good I could be. I didn't know where this was gonna take me, but now I know. And so now I'm going to let you know that, hey, this is what I'm capable of doing, and that's what I'm going to do. And with the whole situation, by me being that way, people already knew that I was a difficult outing for it. Like, I was a problem. People already knew that. They saw my style, and I like to classify myself as being classically trained. Like, I started out wrestling to where I learned the intricacies from wrestling. How to take someone down, how to stop a takedown, how to just manipulate a person's body. I learned that. And then I started from the ground up on with Henry Hooft, how to throw a proper jab, a straight right hand, a low kick, a high kick, a body kick. I learned the basics from the ground up. So there's no room for error. There's not oh, he learned something too rapidly to where he forgot about this and that decline. No, I've learned everything. I've been able to maintain, you know, a plateau of a gradual increase. And that's the way it's continuing to be while people are now knowing they knew that I was a problem, but now I'm actually being vocal about being a problem, and everyone's scared. And it makes sense. I mean, if you look at the roster, you look at the top 10 guys, there's not one guy that you can say is more complete than me. They're well-rounded guys in the division, but you can we can just go down the lineup right now. You say Damian Maya is right up there. Okay, Damian Maya, everyone hands down know that Damian Maya is not he can't strike. Well, not he can strike, but striking's not his. He's not that dangerous with his striking. People would say that's his weak point. Look at Masvidal. He can't wrestle. No, no, the ground's not there. He just wants to be a stand-up fighter. Look at Wonderboy. You've never seen his ground. He doesn't really have a ground. Look, go down the list. Neil Magny. That speaks for itself. Uh, Rafael dos Anjos. Yeah, he just came in division. He's more of he's one of the more well-rounded guys in the division, but he's been doing this for years. He's been champion. So you expect that from him. But you look in the division, most of those guys up there were booked, and it just makes sense. You just came into the division, you're trying to prove that you're a legit welterweight. Why not fight a guy who is a legit welterweight? And I mean legit as in size, as in strength, as in speed, as in power, as in that. Fight a guy like that before you come in screaming for a title shot when you can't come in cherry picking guys. You pick Safin that's ranked 3 slots below me at the time. You beat him in a decision and they put you ahead of me. And then, in the rankings, and then you fight Neil Magny, who was also choked out in even faster time than the guy that then RDA just choked him out, and that guy that choked him out, I just completely ran through in the first round. So that fight makes sense. He wasn't booked, I wasn't booked. It made sense. If you really want to make your claim that you are that difficult and you are here to compete for that title, fight me. He completely just just basically disregarded the fact that, okay, I'm not gonna fight this problem. You know what? I'm gonna let somebody else take care of that problem. But the problem is, I'm a problem itself. No one is gonna solve this problem. Not until I decide that, what, I want to move on from this sport. It's not because I'm gonna be a problem for anybody, because just the way that I approach the sport, I'm the new breed. I am the hybrid.
Yeah, I mean that performance was fantastic, and I get all your analogies regarding the guys in the rankings that are, quote unquote, above you. I know you have problems with the rankings, as do I, as does everyone that watches the show pretty much, and as well as my co-host Sean Ross Sapp. We understand that it's one of the reasons why I removed myself from submitting rankings, because it just didn't make any sense how some of the people were being ranked, and it didn't make, it was just strange. Regardless of the fact, the only problem that I have with you is I may lose you on Titan FC broadcast, because if that fight is scheduled at the wrong time, is there a fight on your calendar that you are potentially aware of from the UFC saying you need to be ready on this date here, or there's nothing there yet?
Absolutely. I made it clear right away that I wanted to get another fight in by the end of the year. I made it clear who I wanted, which is RDA, but he decided that he didn't want to deal with that, and so, which ties into your last question. Then I said, okay, give me Mike Perry. You know, I tweeted it. He liked it. Mike Perry liked the tweet,
Oh, wow.
but that was the last I heard of it. And then I said, okay, fine, give me Neil Magny, because he's the next guy that's not booked. Neil Magny said, yeah. Well, he didn't exactly say yeah. He just said, never been to Detroit, as basically making it could be a possibility. And then next thing you know, hey, I'm fighting Carlos Condit. And so I'm sitting here like, yeah, we're ducking here. It's ducking season, But to answer your question, I'm just. I told them that that's what I wanted. I want to fight by the end of this year, and they respected that. They said, okay, we'll get you something. Most of the cards I think are pretty much already filled up. I think November is filled up, and December is pretty much almost all filled up. But if I do fight by the end of the year, I think it's going to be the one of the later cards in the end of December.
Well, my fingers are definitely crossed for you, because I definitely want to see you compete, because you could use another paycheck by the end of the year. Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not. I mean, you always have your bumps and bruises here and there, but I'm healthy, and so why being healthy? Why not go ahead and put on another performance for everyone, and of course for my paycheck, my pocket.
Absolutely. It's right before the holiday season. Why not, right? So, and it's better to
Absolutely.
have some food over the holiday season as opposed to not having any food. That's for sure. You mentioned
Absolutely.
in a couple of interviews, or just an interview specifically, where there's a potential the UFC isn't promoting you because they don't have a television deal in your homeland of Nigeria. And I kind of said that makes sense. I said, but you need to add to the fact that I'm just waiting for Kamaru to catch lightning in a bottle. And what he did with the John Anik interview, I've always said the most pristine thing that a fighter can do is not just the performance in the cage, but that very, very important post-fight interview, because that's when all the eyeballs are on you. Many more eyeballs than would be on our social media or that would be in the post-fight press conference. And I think you nailed it. So I'm technically waiting for Kamaru Usman to catch lightning in a bottle. And you mentioned the McGregor thing and yada, yada, yada. Sometimes you do have to talk it. And it's just like, I'm trying to figure out what's going through your head. Yeah. But then you have Francis Ngannou getting promoted. Like, what's the deal?
I mean, it's people I feel like people kind of misconstrued that in a way. You know, people ask why wasn't I getting promoted, that well. And to be honest with you, like I said, what I'm not saying the UFC is just not promoting me because I'm from Nigeria. I'm strictly from Nigeria. No, that's not what I meant. What I meant to say is, I feel like because if you want to promote me, you talk about promoting guys. Mike Perry has gotten what 4 fights in the UFC. He's 3-1 in the UFC. Uh, we can all say he's being promoted. Absolutely. There's certain guys that are being put on marquee cards that are being given those uh, co-main event slots or main event slots and things like that. Why don't I deserve that? I have the longest active win streak in the division. I haven't lost a second of a round in since I've been in the UFC. Why don't I deserve that? I dominate guys. I beat up guys. Why is that not? you know, and I just basically put it all together. I'm not saying the UFC hates me or they don't like me. What I was strictly saying is I'm from Nigeria where the sport's not primarily the biggest thing right now because, they don't really know about it. The UFC is still growing, still growing at a rapid pace. And that's a sport that they haven't seen yet, and I'm one of the first, I believe I'm the second, I was the second Nigerian signed into the UFC, and I think I might be the first Nigerian born, but they're, they never heard of it. And so the UFC, I felt like, is like, okay, well, these guys have never really heard of the sport. It's not big over there. Why would we spend money trying to go over there to get a TV deal or promote a guy that's from there where we don't feel like those guys are going to buy pay-per-views or buy a fight or something like that. So I felt like that's kind of why they were like, oh, well, let's not waste time there. Let's focus on more of the guys that we could build. I mean, if you look in Darren Till or the Till, that's his name. That's fighting Cowboy. He's fighting the main event versus Cowboy. I personally, because I just study everyone and I follow everyone, I know of Till, but how many people know of Till? Not that many. But over there, overseas, at his in his neck of the woods, they probably know of him, and that's a place where the UFC has broke ground. Out there in Europe, and so they can sell there. And so that's why I feel like they promote some of these guys because of that. You know, I just basically have to do the harder work. I have to do the leg work that UFC would have cut short for me. I have to do that personally myself to let UFC know that, hey, now I've got eyeballs on me. My people are actually following me. And so bring them to the table before UFC can really start saying, you know what? Yeah, we'll give you main event slot. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. So it's not that I'm saying the UFC hates me and they're not trying to promote me. It's basically the legwork they did for Conor McGregor and all these guys and just say, here, have media power and you guys just run with it. They're not doing that with me. They're basically saying, oh, well, if he pans out, he pans out. If not, we didn't waste effort and money on him.
Gotcha. Completely gotcha. I want to switch things up here before we let you go real quick. During the last Titan FC broadcast, we kicked off the show by you saying, when I threw it over to you, you mentioned this is the face punching business. And we basically ran with that theme throughout the whole Titan FC show. It's the face punching business. If I'm not mistaken, that was the actual quote. Take me back to the moment when you realized I'm going to get involved in the face punching business. I could do this as an athletic endeavor.
Man, that's it took a lot of convincing to be honest with you because I was a wrestler and it doesn't matter how much they want to admit it to you. but we all have that fear on the inside because wrestling is still a controlled sport. It's still controlled, and just like boxing, yeah, boxing is in a sense is a fight, but boxing's an art. It's a martial art that's still controlled. You can't hammer fist. You can't do certain things. It's controlled, and so from wrestling, about to switch over, I trained with a lot of fighters before. I would help them out for their camps, and so I would kind of, get my feet a little, dip my toe into the water a little bit just to see how the sparring felt, and it was tough. It was tough. Like these guys went hard and they really put it all on the line. But it was just one thing about it to where the more and more I trained with these guys, the more and more I got to feel them and be around them. I was like, well, you know what? That guy can do it. Why can't I do that? And then I ran into Sugar Rashad Evans years and years ago, who eventually kind of changed the course of my life by, basically kind of he was the guy that poked the balloon and popped it. He kept throwing his thoughts out there, his 2 cents. He would dig at me every time we talk on the phone. Hey man, you want to do this. You want to do that. You don't want to wrestle anymore. You want, just like Rashad. And he essentially bullied me into just saying, you know what, I'm gonna pack up. I'm gonna take a chance, and I'm gonna make this decision. I'm gonna make this work. And it turns out to be one of the best decisions I've made.
Absolutely. I don't want to talk about Rashad because he's a fool, and we all know what happens whenever we see each other. It's actually a great. I love the family down there because if it's not Rashad, it's Jay Z. It's. I mean, everyone's so nice down there. People don't understand how amazing that South Florida crew is. You can joke around with Rashad all the time. You can joke around with Jay Z nonstop. I mean, that guy's the biggest fool of all the fools. Let's be honest for a second. You never know what to
Yeah,
expect with
I love
Jay Z,
Jay-Z.
especially during the Titan broadcast. We put him in charge of the social media one time, and I thought to myself, is that really a good idea, Lex? Jeff? I mean, we saw what he was doing, and he was fantastic. But Jay Z's Jay Z and
Yeah,
Rashad's Rashad, right?
yeah. I thought Jay Z actually did a good job with that.
Yeah.
We would have liked some certain things different, of course, but I thought he did a good job. But it's just it's amazing to and I've been blessed. I've just been blessed all through the course of my life to run into guys that have touched me in different ways that I can just be around, have fun with, hang out with, and on the other hand, I can also count on them whenever I needed something. And so, it's just a great group of guys down there.
What's it like though when you realize, okay, you know what, these are my boys, these are nice guys, but hey, man, once we step on the mats, once we're in the gym, where does that switch take on, like with everybody? Because everyone's got their own personalities, but it does get serious.
Absolutely get serious, and I think even being friends makes it worse. You know, we're all competitors at the end of the day, but being friends is even worse because now we're competitors that can actually talk crap to each other after we compete. And so it gets serious. You flip a switch. It's you're playing tag. That's it with your friend. You tag him. Then of course he's not going to do it at the same tempo. He's going to tag you a little harder. Then he tag you a little harder. And this was a trend with me and Jay Z for a while. We would, oh, let's go light today. We'll go light.
Yeah, I know the
Jab,
story.
jab. Next thing you know, we're in a full-on fist fight. In the gym. And so it's it's an interesting dynamic, but it's one that has I've made lifelong friends with.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, Kamaru, what you been up to? What's going on?
Man, I just like I mentioned, I have to do the legwork. I have to do all the groundwork for myself and my brand, and really letting the UFC know that I'm a guy to get behind. And so, I've had a lot of wonderful opportunities coming up lately. This weekend, I'm actually in Dallas right now. Last night, I was at the Afrimar Awards, Music Awards, which is just an African, all-around African music awards, which was fantastic. I got to just see and meet some of the biggest artists in Africa and just worldwide, now because there's Africans all over the world, and just being able to be around them and have them exposed now to MMA and seeing what I do and you know gain that respect and that love for it. And this is the groundwork. This is what I need to be doing, and it's fantastic.
Love it, man. Embrace it. Embrace it. I was joking over the weekend, embracing my Italian heritage with some of the translations going on in the octagon. I'm like, they need an Italian translator, UFC. I'm right here. But I appreciate what you're doing. I understand that many of us come from other countries before we move to North America, and we embrace our culture because it can help us in so many ways. So I'm very proud of you. Look forward to seeing you very soon. I guess we have another 5 weeks before I see you in South Florida, do another Titan show. But we want to wish you the best of luck, and we'll continue to follow you to see what's going on here because you are a problem.
Thank you very much, Joe. And you better believe it. I am a problem, and the world will know that sooner or later.